Welcome back to Movies with MacLean. I'm Andrew MacLean. This is my weekly movie podcast where I bring on guests and we talk all things movies. This is episode 17, and today back with me for the second time, Hunter Burris. How you doing?
Happy to be here, man.
And back for the fifth, sixth time, I don't know, Griffin Burris. How are you?
What's up, guys?
I'm glad to have you guys here. I think we have a great show for you today. Our main topic today, as you saw when you clicked on this video, is Civil War. We are going to review it and have a spoiler discussion. It will be spoiler heavy, so if you haven't seen the movie, go see that first, then come back and watch this video. But first, as always, we have the news. The first major news story this week is Alden Ehrenreich is cast as Han Solo for the Han Solo anthology film. I'm not sure if this was part of it, but maybe I heard that he might have a cameo in Rogue One. I don't know if you guys
We've been hearing that for a while.
Okay.
Is that fluff news, or have you heard like a confirmation? Because I feel like it's just been getting around.
It hasn't been confirmed, but it sounds like it's pretty likely that he will appear. But first off, do you guys like this casting?
I have no idea who the guy is, but I saw a picture of him. He looks alright. You know what I mean? So I have no opinion. I mean, it's just weird that we're getting a Han Solo who's young when we've already seen him young.
I'm excited because I don't really know what's coming since I haven't seen like Hail Caesar, and that's like the only thing he's like recognized as in. So I mean, I'm pretty excited.
He was in that. I mean, it's a Coen Brothers casting, and they're known for their casting. So I mean, if Coen Brothers casted him in one of their more recent movies, then I trust their judgment. Like I said, I mean, Daisy Ridley was kind of a nobody, and she did fantastic, and I like the direction they're going with Star Wars. So. Yeah. I'm excited, man. I love Han. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like the idea that they're doing a Han movie at all, but I think that this was a good casting.
They had to do it.
I didn't either. I mean, it was kind of I think it's kind of weird to do it. I thought it was more of a fan service thing that they did, like a clickbait kind of just to make money. But I feel like if they do it right and they give us when he's like really young before he even gets the Falcon or something, I think it could be a really unique story.
Yeah, well, they did like reveal some that it's gonna be sort of a origin story, like where him and Chewie meeting or something like that. So, maybe he probably won't have the Falcon then because that would be before he got it from Lando.
How old was he in A New Hope? Let's say Han was like roughly 30. Yeah. If we say that, then it makes sense for him to this actor can maybe portray a 20-year-old. Yeah. I mean, that's fair. You see that in TV and movies all the time.
Mark Hamill was 26. He played Luke as 19. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and Han was supposed to be a lot older. So, I mean, it actually does kind of make sense. It's just, we don't really recognize that Han was a different age than Luke. We look at him as being so young because we see him so old now. But, yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah,
I trust Disney.
Oh, yeah. I like the guy in Hail Caesar. I wasn't a fan of Hail Caesar overall, but I thought he was the best part of it. Actually, he was really funny.
Good.
And it'll probably have a lot of humor in it since it's directed by Lord and Miller. So, I'm looking forward to the movie.
It'll be a fun movie. I mean, if anything, it'll be a fun movie.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Russell Crowe is joining The Mummy, the first movie in the upcoming Universal Monsters shared universe. Do you guys like this news?
What a weird time to live in. Yeah. Universal is doing a shared universe of monster movie. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah. People have so much money, they don't know what to do with it. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, Russell Crowe's a great actor. I mean, so whatever. You can throw him in anything.
I'm excited just because I like Russell Crowe as an actor. So I think it'll be cool.
I could care less about this Monsters universe, but we love monster movies, and it might be something to get into.
It'll be entertaining. I think.
It's just so funny to me that they're doing this, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, Warner Bros. Is doing their Godzilla, King Kong stuff too. So there's a lot of monster stuff coming out.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, it's
getting more popular.
Hopefully it kicks off, because if this was a thing in the 70s and 80s, and it was, but it was on a smaller scale. I mean, it would have taken off. But I don't know. Hopefully people are ready for that, because I think I see audiences getting tired of these shared universes. It's a bit confusing. But we'll see. I
mean, they're getting a lot of talent for these movies. They already got Tom Cruise in The Mummy, and he's always on his game. He's never one who phones it in.
No.
So, I think it'll be pretty good.
Do we know directors?
I can look it up. We'll come back to this if I find out.
It's just an interesting. It's just kind of a weird thing going on. It's exciting though.
Yeah. Next up in the news, we have R rating confirmed for the Wolverine sequel. It'll come out early next year. So I'm excited about this. What do you guys think?
Definitely excited about that. I love Wolverine movies, and now that it's going to be even more gruesome, it just makes me happier because they got the R rating.
That's what it's supposed to be, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, anyone who's ever read the comic, I know probably no one besides me and MacLean have probably read the comic, but they're always gory. I mean, people were so shocked with Deadpool, and Deadpool's even more worse in his literature. But yeah, Wolverine's always been very vulgar. He's been very graphic, and it's been gritty. So I'm glad that they can kind of capture that. Not that they haven't already with the tools they had at their disposal, but I'm glad that they have this approval and this green flag. I've heard rumors that it's going to be an older Logan, so Hugh Jackman will be all gray and old and even grouchier, which is how I want him. So I'm super excited for that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the Wolverine actually yet from like 2013, but I've heard like what it was missing was like there was a lot of violence, but like no blood, so it didn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
And this, I mean, it's obviously better for it to be R-rated if they can include the violence because Wolverine is a very violent character.
He's a super gritty character.
So, yeah.
I mean, he's even more violent really than Deadpool because Deadpool's at least kind of campy as he does it. Wolverine's just straight clawing through people. I mean, it's a complaint I have about every superhero movie. You just don't notice it at first that they are beating the living heck out of each other and there's no bruising and blood often. But the complaint I had with the 2013 movie, The Wolverine, was that it just didn't stay true to the source material. It was kind of a rushed story just to put Logan back on the map.
I wasn't a big fan of the movie.
Didn't really make
it. Definitely, I have to agree with like the blood thing. There wasn't
really. I didn't notice it that badly. I just thought it was just kind of unnecessary. It's like here we are with a mediocre story. It was subpar. Nothing really memorable about the performances. But I mean, if anything, Hugh Jackman always steals the show. I feel like he does better in movies that aren't standalone for Wolverine. Whenever he like makes an appearance in other movies. But hopefully, with this new R rating, we'll get what we want.
By the way, I did find the director of The Mummy. His name is Alex Kurtzman, and I only saw one directing credit for it. It was a movie called People Like Us that I haven't heard of.
Never.
But he has a lot of screenwriting credits for, like, he wrote Mission Impossible 3, Star Trek from 2009, but also Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, so that's also not good. But okay, Michael Bay probably ruined that for him. Like,
I mean, kind of. You gotta remember, I mean, Revenge of the Fallen was written during the writer's strike. Okay, so they had two writers who were not even able to give their full time. I mean, and it's a Transformers movie. Yeah, and it's a Transformers movie.
Okay.
But, I mean, and it's screenwriting. Screenwriting goes through, like, a bunch of different ringers before you actually, you know, what it looks like on screen. And that's the directors and the producers basically tearing it apart.
I mean, look at, like...
He's familiar in his sci-fi department, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, it doesn't need to be Shawshank screenplay. It's a mummy movie.
Yeah.
So. Did you guys like the 99, 98 Mummy, whatever year that was?
I just now saw the one with Brandon Fraser, and I loved the first one. For what it was. I mean, I went into it thinking it was going to be crappy, and granted, it kind of was, but it was fun. It gets like, I liked it.
It's pretty campy, but I
it's super campy and it's super cheesy. It was like a wannabe Indiana Jones movie.
I thought it was kind of cheesy, really.
But that's okay. Like I went into that expecting that. I didn't go into it expecting kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was fine. A fine movie.
I thought it was
a C movie. It was fun. I thought it was fun.
I enjoyed it. Moving on, X-Men, the next X-Men movie, whatever they do after Apocalypse, it's not slated yet, but it's going to be set in the 1990s. They did First Class in the 60s, Days of Future Past 70s, and Apocalypse will be 80s, so they're moving forward. Maybe eventually they'll catch up to where Deadpool is. I don't know.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really need to with the time travel and stuff. I mean, Deadpool can show up anywhere because he breaks the fourth wall, but... So when did we get this news? We got this a couple days ago, right? They said that we were going to get another X-Men movie, which was a surprise to me because that's outside of a trilogy number. So that's awesome that Fox is giving them more movies. My biggest hope for this is that they stay true to the 90s and that we get the classic X-Men suits that we saw from the 90s cartoon. I thought they were going to do it with the 80s, given that how the fashion is, that we could see the really bright and colorful X-Men uniforms. We didn't get that. I hope we get that in the 90s for whatever reason. I can see Wolverine in a bright yellow costume. And I heard this Apocalypse really makes way for the newer characters and the younger cast. So they can really have fun with that freedom there. So I hope it gets a bit brighter. Because X-Men stories are always dark. So it'd be a nice, it'd complement each other well. Kind of a weird hope for the movie, but it's what I've been wanting for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. They keep adding like new X-Men to these movies. Like they added Cyclops, and was Nightcrawler in any of the other ones, or is he just? I mean, I know he's in the old ones, but was he in like Days of Future Past or
in the trilogy? No, is Nightcrawler the one that can jump around?
Yeah, he'll be in this one. Yeah.
Wait, what?
He's like the really blue skater
one.
Yeah, they keep. I mean, they added Gene and stuff, and I mean it's fine. I like the newer ones way better than the older ones, except for X-Men 2, of course. But yeah, I mean, I could take these younger Fassbender trilogy movies all day. They're way better. Really good.
I mean, they're casting him great, I think. So.
Yeah, I love them. I love how they go back in time.
That's another thing. We like the history. I mean, I mean, we're not going to get that as much with the 80s and the 90s anymore, but like with Future Past and First Class.
But I love the 80s and the 90s.
We love going back to like the JFK era and the Vietnam era. It's just cool. I mean, Griffin and I are huge fans of that.
Yeah.
British invasion era anyway. So I mean, I don't know. Seeing that on screen is always a treat.
Well, I love any kind of period piece that's also a superhero movie, like Captain America, The First Avenger, or like Wonder Woman's going to be like that. So
hopefully they nail that. Yeah, I'm excited for the World War One Wonder Woman movie, as I've said many times.
Okay, final news piece. The Assassin's Creed trailer dropped today. So I liked it. I thought the action was pretty great. What do you guys think?
Did you see? I mean, I watched it in the middle of the night, and I thought I was expecting a terrible trailer. So as soon as I saw Fassbender, my hopes went up, almost doubled because I didn't know he was in the movie because I didn't care about the movie. Very over, too much CGI for a natural setting. He's, jumping from rooftop to rooftop, and it was obvious he was on a green screen. Now we have 6 more months till the movie comes out. Hopefully it looks a bit more real. It's a very colorful Zack Snyder-esque looking movie. So hopefully, Fassbender could work with just a green screen. But we've never had a good video game movie in my opinion, so I think this will be the first one that actually does do pretty well and is told pretty well. So yeah, I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be a fine movie. It didn't look very graphic or violent. Assassin's Creed needs to have very choreographed fight scenes to be very violent. Because that was kind of like a part of its signature, right? Like the first image we ever saw was the assassin putting his knife into someone's head. So hopefully we get that. Because that would just be a fun movie to watch with the choreography.
I'm definitely excited because I always play the games. So to see that on the big screen would be pretty cool. But I mean, as long as they do it well, and it's not like more like you said, more like a lot of CGI green screen kind of stuff.
I mean, and they can do, like, I heard Warcraft was pretty awesome, and that's an example of a video game movie that has a ton, it's flooded with CGI, and I heard it actually was pretty well, but it's, like, well done at least, but this is a movie about realism. It's during the Spanish Inquisition. A lot of buildings, a lot of set pieces, like, we can tell when something looks real or fake. Yeah. But it really is just art. It's just the color palette and how artistic and stylized the movie looks.
Like you said, I hope there's a lot of like choreographed fights because that's basically all it is.
It needs it. But I don't want it to be like slow motion or anything like that. Like I said, I'm kind of a big Zack Snyder hater. I don't want slow motion. I just want it to be fast paced. I want it to be.
I wouldn't mind slow motion though. That's how it is in the games.
I know. It's not a game though. It's a movie. They need to nail it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to see that in theaters.
Yeah, it could open the door for like more video game movies. You mentioned Warcraft. They already screened that, so that shows that they're confident in their movie. And
I heard it did well, reception-wise too.
Mm-hmm. I didn't hear that, but that's good news.
Well, people that not that I trust in terms of critics, but people who I never was a World of Warcraft fan, so I don't care. But it looked like kind of garbage to me. But and people that saw it said it was epic and it was cool. So that's good, because video game movies, even Ratchet and Clank, which is an amazing video game, just put out a movie, and it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
Did you see it?
I've read reviews on it, and I watched clips, and even watching clips on Yahoo Movies, I was like, whoa, this is like, you could tell that it was just fluff. And I was like, how can they not nail a cinematic game, So hopefully they do get it right. I heard we're getting Uncharted movies in the future, too.
That's been getting pushed back though. Yeah, like they lost their writer and
a director. Yeah, and I'm kind of worried about that because those stories are a little bit long. But all they gotta do is just make an Indiana Jones basically. So I don't know. We'll see. Video game movies have always been cursed, so we'll see when it finally hits the nail on the head.
Yeah, well, I mean, what gives me hope is Michael Fassbender because he's a great actor. So hopefully he can.
I think he's one of the best actors of the last 10 years. To be honest, that we've seen.
So that's all for the news. What we're doing now, we're going to talk about Civil War. I'm going to warn you guys again, we will be talking spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet, leave now and come back after you've seen the movie. So just to start us off, I'm just going to ask you guys, like, And what like really stood out to you about the movie? What was like your favorite thing? Something that just blew you away?
Holy crap! Give me my Spider-Man movie right freaking now, right now, dude. Best Spider-Man I've ever seen. That's my '90s cartoon. I literally was so excited.
That's one
I can't stop. Yeah, that's my hands down. I love Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Don't get me wrong, but that's the best Spider-Man. Okay, Tobey Maguire had a good movie. This is the best Peter Parker / Spider-Man I've ever seen.
I mean, Spider-Man was definitely my favorite like element of the movie, but I can't,
really,
oh yeah, for sure. I can't decide yet if I like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man better. Or
you don't have to though.
We haven't seen enough of Tom Holland.
Yeah, I mean the thing is,
I definitely like the new one suit better.
If anyone is on the fence in terms of this argument, and it's irrelevant because they're different movies, different styles, different eras. But if anyone's on the fence, go watch. I'd say about 5 episodes of the hit '90s cartoon, and you'll be like, whoa. They nailed it on the head. Mm-hmm. We got a kid who's kind of nerdy, kind of awkward, but also a smart aleck who's fun and just has all the quips. And the Spider-Man, you know, he just nails it. I mean, as soon as he started talking, I was like, whoa, like this is my Peter Parker that I grew up with, which is probably why I loved him so much. But that was hands down my favorite part of the movie.
Probably either that or the fight scene at the airport.
Yeah, when he catches Winter Soldier's hand and he's like,
yeah, that was just incredible. Well, the fight scene where they just mashed everyone up. I thought they did that really well.
Yeah, my favorite part, honestly, I love Spider-Man, but Giant Man was awesome for me. Like, cause we didn't know that was coming. And
not at all.
I thought like maybe there's like a 25% chance since I was at Target. I saw an action figure for Giant Man. That said
really? That always gives it away.
But like they don't like those things don't always show up in the movies. Though.
Yeah.
Like they make those things like way before the movie comes out, so you don't know. But that was a big surprise, anyways.
That was really cool. I wasn't expecting that at all.
Well, I didn't even know, and like, the thing is, I'm a huge fan of the Avengers comics and the Ultron storyline, which is all about Ant-Man in the book. So I know a lot about the character, and I didn't see it coming. Like I should have totally known that's what he was about to do, but I mean, and then he did that, and Griffin and I in the theater freaked out. It was so cool.
That was awesome.
Things to take away from the movie, though, aside from that, I thought the choreographed fight sequences were underappreciated. Like, people, we're so used to it that we don't notice it as much, but those were fantastic. From the first 10 minutes of the movie, Scarlett Johansson and Chris Evans' fight sequences were amazing.
Yeah.
Like, they're taking advantage of those set pieces that were huge, jumping from cars, going down staircases. The one where Captain America is trying to get Bucky out of the building when the SWAT team's trying to take him, dead or alive.
And then they're running by the cars in the tunnel with Black Panther. Yeah.
That was cool.
Their fight scenes were, how that takes so much time to nail that from the cinematography of getting that on camera, and then the actors actually in the stunt doubles doing that. I mean, I was blown away by that. I thought the fight sequences were awesome, and I say they're underappreciated because we see them so often. We're like, oh, another punch fight, but really it is pretty awesome.
What did you guys think of Black Panther?
He was great. I don't know who the hell Black Panther is, so he nailed it for me. You know what I mean? Like, he looks awesome. He looks like Terry McGinnis Batman. He looks like Batman Beyond. So I was like, that's cool. And then he was just awesome African speaking, mysterious. He was real mysterious. So
I heard he was like method acting like on set.
Was he?
Yeah.
Is he not South African?
No, he's like a normal guy, but
he was cool. Black Panther was another thing I loved from the movie because whenever he was on screen, we were always like, ho, 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 like, here's an awesome guy.
I love how it opened up for a Black Panther movie.
Oh, yeah. So. That credit scene I thought was good. The Spider-Man one, not so much.
Underwhelming, but at the same time, I, in a weird way, kind of like that we weren't getting some dun, dun, dun credit scene. If we're going to talk about the credit scene, they're always either really confusing Easter eggs that only diehards understand.
Howard the Duck.
Or it's,
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
What? Which one?
The Howard the Duck one.
Oh, yeah, that one sucked. Or it's something that is just a cliffhanger. And I liked how this was just, they were showing more Peter Parker, just being Peter Parker, saying, yeah, I got punched by a guy named Steve. He had a really big friend. And I thought that was awesome. And then for Spider-Man fans of the show, which I am a huge fan of the show, that light, the projection that he shines onto the wall was actually the Spider-Man warning light from the cartoons. He would shine that down on his enemies before he basically beat the crap out of them.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what that is. And this is an upgraded version. It had like a police scanner on it. It said different crime cases. I mean, so that was cool to me. Underwhelming because we were expecting, everyone wants to see Thanos do something at the end of these movies, but it was awesome. If we talk about complaints, because there's so many good things we can talk about in the movie, because it was done so well. I mean, I have very few complaints that actually matter, right? Like, Marvel's villains are always very underdeveloped, and I actually think Zemo even in this adaptation, was a great villain on paper. But, you know, he was really underwhelming in my first watch through. I've seen the movie twice now, and when I first watched it, he was just a regular guy who somehow was able to be a mastermind and pull all these strings, and that was
Only
kind of
thing
to me.
I didn't like about Zemo is that when he was trying to pull the Avengers apart in the end of the movie, how did he know that Iron Man was going to follow Captain and the Winter Soldier?
Well,
that's a good point.
It's just
Like, that would have foiled his plans completely.
Well, it's like, how would the Joker know that Batman would do that? You know what I mean? You see these in these kind of villains that are more masterminds, you know, these that engineer their plots rather than. And what I mean, like I said, on paper, when you look at what Zemo says, he says more powerful men than me have tried to take these guys down. So I had to be smart about it. I had to be careful about it. He wanted them to rip each other off from the inside, which is an awesome concept. I think they could have gone a little bit further with it. Maybe had his motivations be a little bit more relevant to the audience. Because when I'm seeing it, I didn't care. I was like, so they dropped a building on your family and now you're suddenly smart enough to outdo all the other villains we've ever seen and get them to tear each other apart? Wow, lucky. I was lucky. But then in my second watch through, I kind of got where he was coming from. It made a lot more sense, but it was underwhelming. I think they should have developed him up a little bit more, but they don't have the time. That's a common complaint with Marvel movies. I don't think they've ever nailed a villain.
He still wasn't. He wasn't bad, though.
If you can name me like 2 villains that were good in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'll be impressed. Because I think they are they're usually like the weaker parts of these movies. But yeah, like it's an interesting concept. Like the Zemo is an interesting character. It's just we didn't really get a lot of him, and I thought it was kind of, that's my only complaint, really.
I liked him as a villain. I just don't know why they called him Zemo, because he was nothing like the Zemo comic book character.
I think that's fan service, and maybe we'll get more of him.
Yeah, because I mean he was with Everett Ross at the end, so maybe he'll be in Black Panther. I mean, there's a chance. I don't know.
I mean, Black Panther, we got Andy Serkis as the villain.
Yeah.
But you never know, because now their universe is so established, which I love. It's like the animated universe, and of course the comics, obviously, but where these storylines and characters can seamlessly blend together. Like, it's not a big cameo if Iron Man walks out in someone else's movie. Yeah. It's like, it's natural. Like, these characters all exist in the same universe, so we can have overlapping villains, just like Crossbones was in the beginning of Captain America, which was also underwhelming. Like, he had this awesome outfit. He had these awesome arms that could punch through walls and stuff, and he talked like this. I was like, what?
I liked him a lot better in Winter Soldier, just says like that.
Yeah, he was he was charismatic, and I mean, I thought it was a cool reveal for Captain America fans that it was that character, and they went that route with it, but still. Villains are always underwhelming, in my opinion, in the Marvel movies. Like in the last one, which was Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Terrible villain from the guy from House of Cards, our alcoholic friend from House of Cards, the bald guy. He was terrible in it. But whatever. I don't have real complaints about this movie, and if I do, it's either fanboy complaints or it's typical complaints as a really critical person. But they're superhero movies.
It's probably in my top 5 Marvel movies.
Like my complaints for Batman versus Superman, I could literally talk 2 hours about real complaints about why the movie was severely flawed. This movie, it's like any flaws it have. I'm like, it's a comic book movie. I don't care. You know, like it's fine. At the very best, these movies are just good. They're never like, I don't think, amazing with the exception of a few. I don't think these movies ever go into 10 out of 10 territory or 9 out of 10 territory. But I think for what we have, these family-friendly, awesome superhero movies, they do a great job. And this might be my 3rd favorite one.
3rd?
Yeah.
Total?
Out of all the not all the superhero movies, but out of the Marvel movies in this cinematic universe.
And it's in my top 5. I can't say 3 though.
That's something we should do in the future, is make a list of the MCU movies. Because we obviously didn't do any preparation for that. But like, I mean, obviously, like I think my first one would be Avengers, just because it's so groundbreaking. Then Guardians and Iron Man and Winter Soldier. But
I wasn't a fan of Avengers that much.
Really, I
don't know.
We did
crack cocaine.
Last week we did like a bracket with all the MCU and Winter Soldier.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Sorry,
Winter Soldier won.
My bad.
Yeah, oh no, that's fine. Yeah, well, it was great because like just like Empire Strikes Back with Star Wars, like this was like the funniest, I think, Marvel movie, but also the darkest Marvel movie. Like,
yeah, it was, right? They blended it great.
Yeah, and it was also just a great blend of action and story.
I think, is it fair to say it's the best action they've ever had? Because, you know what, this is my biggest compliment to this movie. The world wasn't ending, where there was no alien invasion, there was no Ultron, there was no super serum that could poison the whole planet. This was just a personal conflict, but it felt like the most epic Marvel movie we've had, because it was a character conflict. That's what a lot of critics are saying, and I agree with them, is that we didn't need some dire catastrophic event to happen for this movie. It was just them crippling from within, which is honestly the most fascinating thing they could do, in my opinion. That's why this movie is so great. We didn't have an Ultron or a Loki. We just had them fighting in a reasonable way, which is awesome. With the two characters, in my opinion, that I care about the most in the MCU, Iron Man first and Cap. So I love that.
Yeah. But, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. No, when you did rake them, I mean, did you? Because I mean, I will go back and listen. But what were your what happened there with the final four?
Oh, it was Avengers, Iron Man, on one side, and then Winter Soldier and Guardians on the other.
See, that's mine.
I mean,
yeah. I actually like the first Captain America a little more than Guardians, but that was on like the other side of the bracket. And I think I like this is in my top 5. I'm not sure
I love
where
this
exactly
a lot,
I
but I don't know where to put
5.
it. See, I'm at the point because we have so many of these freaking things that if it comes out and it works, I'm like, awesome. We have a great movie. Like, to me, this was like seeing the Flashpoint Paradox cartoon. A movie with a lot of characters and a good story, and I'm like, awesome, give me the next one.
That's all I even said, though. I love how the animated movies, they can always do it really well when they clash all of the characters together.
Right?
Yeah.
And I even said during the movie, I'm like, this is just like an animated movie. They did it really well.
Dude, we don't see this. We don't ever see this. No one has the means or the time to like put this fantasy movie together. I mean, this is everyone's dream to see all these characters together.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like, we've had a Captain America in a movie every year for the past 3 years. We're not getting one next year, and then, like, we won't get one until the end of 2019.
Captain America's been in every movie?
Or he's been in a movie, like, every year. Like, he was in this Age of Ultron, Winter Soldier. Maybe he'll be in Black Panther. I mean, he was, like,
I think he'll be in Black Panther somehow because Bucky
He might even be in a...
Bucky Barnes is chilling in a refrigerator.
He could be in a cutscene. You never know.
Yeah.
Well, what do we got? We got we got Doctor Strange, which is... Who the hell knows what that's going to be about?
Yeah.
It's like I mean, I don't care about Doctor Strange. Awesome comic. In animated movie everyone should watch, but I don't care about him. Then we get
Guardians 2.
I'm excited for Guardians 2.
Is Guardians 2 the one that comes out first?
I think it's before Spider-Man, yeah.
Yep,
okay, cool.
It is.
And I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, for a while, in a way, is my favorite MCU movie. Because I think it's the best quality movie they've put out.
I think it
That's
is
the one
favorite.
where I like take issue with you if you like don't like it, because it's just like such a great like fun movie.
Yeah, if you don't like that movie, you're just like...
It's the highest, I think, like I said, it's
the
the highest quality movie they have out there. They're not really trying to, they didn't make a movie like Iron Man 2 that was just a filler movie to get to the next one. And fillers sometimes can be good. Like Iron Man 2 could have been so good, but like, they were just about trying to get the Avengers to us. Guardians of the Galaxy, like, let's give you something funky, let's give you something fun. It's way out here in the middle of nowhere. But anyway, back to Captain America. Do you have, like, complaints outside of what I was saying? Like, in terms of... You said you thought it was weird that they called the guy Zemo. I think that was just because they didn't want to call him somebody random. They have so much source material. They did just give us some random name.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I mean, no, I really don't have any complaints. I mean, it was just, like, gripping the whole way through, like...
It was gripping.
From that, like, scene in Lagos in the beginning, like, at the end of that scene, I'm like, this is awesome, and I'm still getting Spider-Man at some point.
Yeah.
And, like, it was amazing.
When it blew up, like, the hospital, all the Ugandan people helping out. I mean, given the fact that it was called Civil War, for anyone who hasn't read the book or is familiar, it was very loosely adapted from it. Like, loosely is a friendly statement, too. Like, it was a conflict between Cap and Iron Man, and there was accords that had the government involved with the superheroes. That's the only relation, really. I wanted someone to die in the end of it. I really did. But at the same time, it would take away from future movies that are only going to get better. But I really wanted Iron Man to die in that last scene. Or Cap, but, you know, I don't know. Because I love these characters so much. And, like, during that last fight, the first time I watched it, with every punch, I'm like, kill shot. Kill shot. Like, please get a kill shot. Like, I want someone to die. Or at least someone to get a severe injury. And they blew Bucky's arm off, which was awesome. But I wanted, like, I don't know, I would have loved it if, like, Iron Man, like, blew a hole through Captain America or something and just was, like, a shock and awe moment. But these are family-friendly movies. I talked about before that they took a lot darker and more realistic tone, but they didn't stray away from it so far to where we're getting Dark Knight. It was like we have the same Marvel formula, in quotes, that we've been getting all these years, for the last 8 years, just with a darker tone. So, I mean, the fact that they did punch Howard Stark to death and blow Bucky's arm off was probably the darkest we're ever going to get. Because it's easily the darkest Marvel story ever.
Yeah.
It's the darkest, besides maybe Spider-Man and Gwen Stacy. But it is, like, in my opinion, the darkest Marvel story in the source material. So, I think it could have been a little bit darker. A little bit. Like, but that's like a fanboy complaint, you know what I mean? With a movie, you take what it is. no problems with that.
And oh, sorry.
No, you're good. No, you're not interrupting.
I heard like an interview with the Russos, like about like how they didn't kill anyone off, and they were like, well, there's so much more we can do with these characters that like we like in potential movies in the future that like we wouldn't want to like kill someone off and then be like, oh, well, now we can't use that character.
That's what I like about the
movie.
Or they would have
really
left a lot of openings. Like you can do a lot of stuff with that movie.
Oh
See,
yeah,
this was
I mean, Secret Avengers now pretty much. So
which for anyone, that's a real thing in the comics, the Secret Avengers. Which I did say that I was like, whoa, we got the Secret Avengers now. But this is the thing. In a way, this is how a filler movie should be. Marvel has so many filler movies like Thor and Iron Man 2 and 3 that were just filler movies. Like they needed to give the story there so they give us a popular character. This was an amazing movie that also served as a filler, and people just don't realize that. Like it did, we didn't have anything really about the Infinity War storyline. We had characters that needed to be established, and they were, and then we had a conflict happen, and it was done beautifully. In terms of not killing them, back to your point, I think that it was a good idea not to do it because, Disney needs them to make money. Downey Jr. and Chris Evans are the two biggest money makers besides Guardians. They are. And Ant-Man's on the up and coming because people really are loving that character. But that's why I think it would have been a great idea as a writer standpoint if they would have killed off someone that's so beloved. But I doubt Disney would have greenlit that. And it would have been cheap. We need them for these movies. If anything, it'll be cool if they die in Infinity War. Mm-hmm. I think people need to, like, they need to kill our characters off because, like, it's just getting to the point where it's like we don't want it to be where they can just survive anything. Because in that fight between Iron Man and Captain America and Bucky Barnes, I truly did think someone was going to die. It seemed like a real conflict.
So did I.
So when that kind of fight happens again, I don't want to be like, well, they're not going to kill him. I want to be surprised when someone does die, because that's what makes a great story. Not because they're killing someone off as a writer's ploy, because it happens. It's what happens in these conflicts and in the comics. So
I think Cap might die in Infinity War, and then
they sacrifice himself.
Yeah, and then they have like Falcon be like the new Captain America.
Well, that happens in the books.
Yeah, well, he is right now. Yeah, and then I mean they have Bucky also, but he's been around for a while. Maybe his contract will run out. Like Falcon hasn't, or what Anthony Mackie hasn't been around for as long as Sebastian Stan. So maybe.
I mean, if anything, if we're talking about characters that we think that's a whole other topic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know in another way I was talking about with Griffin before, because we had this fanboy conversation on the way home from the movie. Spider-Man now, they can do so much with that. Yeah. Like, I honestly think they could make 3 Spider-Man movies and they could be on par with the amount of money the Avengers movies make, if not more. Like, I said with DC, I was like, why don't they just put out 5 Batman movies, and why doesn't Marvel just put out, like, 5 Spider-Man movies?
Basically, like, Iron Man's kind of the fan favorite of the Marvel Universe.
But Spider-Man is the fan favorite.
I think Spider-Man's kind of going to take over, which
Downey,
is really cool.
Downey Jr. is the best performer, right? Like, Iron Man's not really like, when we got Iron Man, we never had seen that kind of Iron Man. So, the fact that we got this charismatic Robert Downey Jr., that's why people loved it. I think Spider-Man could survive on its own. Yeah. Spider-Man and Deadpool are the 2 favorites, always. They've always been the 2 favorites, and then Wolverine. But so the fact that they're on the big screen now, it's awesome.
Yeah, what do you guys think of Vision in this movie?
I thought he was so interesting, man. I really did. He's like, well, maybe it's because I was kind of, it comes from a DC fan's viewpoint because I love Martian Manhunter, so I was kind of imagining my Martian Manhunter was in this movie, but I really loved it. I thought the performance was great. He's a great actor. I mean, whenever he speaks.
I don't know what to say. No, I can't really say much about him because, like, he isn't like
he's underused.
He's not a standout character, and he's not really.
He's a standout character to me.
I don't know.
I disagree with that. I mean, in my opinion, he stands out to me because whenever his purple freaking face is on screen, something cool is happening.
I just think he doesn't really have that much like pizzazz.
I think it's cool that they're humanizing him.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I mean, not only in his flaws of being able, he's starting to feel emotion and like feel conflicted, which is impossible for Vision. It's a phenomenon, but he's forming his relationship with Scarlet Witch, which is directly from the books. I thought every line he had was brilliant or emotionally driving. I mean, it was when he was protecting Wanda. It was something that was the equation about conflict leading to catastrophe. It was the funny lines when he was trying to cook, and I love that they put Vision in a little sweater vest.
Yeah.
See, I thought Vision was great. Vision always stood out to me. Realistically, and this is a comic book complaint. I mean, him and Wanda are so powerful that in that airport fight, they both could have ended that thing right there. Like, Wanda could have just taken everybody and put them down, and Vision literally could have just blinked that Infinity Gem, and they all could have went to sleep.
Well, yeah, but they weren't trying to.
I know that's a comic book complaint. So that, I mean, in terms of like how they use those characters, it's probably hard when they're doing that to like, how do we use these guys when they're so powerful?
Yeah.
Like, because they literally could have ended that fight. But in terms of Vision, I loved Vision. I thought he was great. Every line he had, I really cared for him. I didn't care for him in the last movie. He was just the powerful guy who picked up Thor's hammer, which was epic enough. Like, that's all we needed. But this time it was like they really humanized him. I mean, do you guys, were you on the ballpark with that?
Oh, yeah, I thought he was great. Yeah, I mean, you talk about, like, how they could just, like, use all their powers, but you know that they weren't trying to, like, seriously harm them, because, like, when War Machine went down, Falcon flew down to save him.
Oh, yeah.
With Tony.
And Hawkeye versus Black Widow. Like, they're like, they were definitely pulling, they weren't even punching each other. But, like, they can only do so much, right? Because like we're the comic fans, we're wanting to know storyline. The average moviegoer here wants to just watch a good superhero movie. They do kind of cover their tracks. Like Vision's like, I don't fully understand this gem. I don't really know how to work it.
Well, he's going to play a huge part in Infinity War because he's got that in his head.
That's what I'm thinking. I can't wait for the moment when Thanos just like rips that thing out of his head.
And then Vision like he can work without it maybe. You know,
I don't think so.
I loved Vision in a weird way was one of my favorite parts of the movie because every time he was on screen, an interesting scene was happening. When he when he made the line in the sand, if you will, like on the airport, and was like, "That's enough, Cap." I was like, "You're awesome! Like you're awesome."
I like how they when they used Bucky, and I'm a big fan of like the Soviet like mind control kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Implemented that. That was really cool to me.
That was awesome. It's a Captain... Oh, yeah. It felt like a Captain America movie.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are saying, oh, that was a Captain America movie? Like, my parents were like, we thought it was just an Avengers movie. And that's fine, but, like, I feel like they did nail the mood and setting of a Captain America movie where history is a relevant thing in the movie.
It mostly followed, like, the team of, like, Cap, Bucky, Falcon, and Sharon Carter, like, for a lot of the movies.
Not to mention how great was their interplay. I thought the Falcon Winter Soldier scenes that even though we only had so few of them, the "I hate you" moment where they're strung on the floor, I laughed out loud at that, which was surprising. I really did laugh out loud at that scene. Great job from that. So yeah, it's crazy. We could go on all day about this in terms of reviewing a spoiler review for this movie. It's nothing but positive because it nailed everything the fanboys wanted. It nailed what the moviegoers wanted, and it gave us a Marvel story that like will never get old.
Yeah.
Like, never get old. It was fun, and it didn't have Guardians of the Galaxy flair. It didn't have Avengers catastrophic action. It was just conflict with these characters that we know and love, and it was done beautifully.
And referring to Bucky, I mean, what did you guys think of the actual spoiler in the movie?
That he killed.
That he did his parents?
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. I mean,
I didn't see that coming at all.
Not at all. I had no idea that was coming.
It was a bit confusing that Captain America somehow, did he know it was Bucky? Did he not? I mean,
he said yeah, he did.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
I'm guessing he found out in the Winter Soldier, or just like...
I don't know. It doesn't really matter, because there's so much off-screen. I thought that was awesome. They always have twists in these Cap movies. They're so good. Like Red Skull taking off the mask and, Winter Soldier.
I did not see that coming at all. And like when I saw Iron Man fall Cap and Winter Soldier into that like confinement area, I guess.
Oh yeah.
I was like, wait, in the trailer I saw them like beating Iron Man to death. I was like, something's gotta happen.
That original that original Civil War trailer, that it is a 2-on-1 fight, and that was the coolest part of the trailer. So I lean over to Griffin in the theater. I'm like, so when are they going to be tag teaming Iron Man?
As soon as I saw that video, I was like, oh no. I was like, this is not good.
See, that to me, I get goosebumps about it, and I love the Marvel movies, but I am a DC fan, and I'm like, and if we get into what gets me hyped, I got really excited during this movie, probably the most excited I've ever been, watching my favorite characters do that to each other, and I cared for what was happening.
I really wanted Iron Man to kind of kill Captain America or Bucky. I don't know.
I wanted Bucky to kill Iron Man, and then Captain America to have to put Bucky down and be like restrain him and be like, oh no, what have I done? And then that letter that is read at the end of the movie, he would read at Iron Man's funeral. Kind of a dark ending, but it would have been really cool. But at the same time, it would have made Captain America kind of it would have made him a murderer in the public's eye, and that would have been bad. But I thought it would have been great.
I thought it was great, like when they're leaving Cap and Bucky, and Iron Man's just like, you don't deserve that shield.
Great.
And threw it down.
That was awesome. That was really cool. You know how that's a brutal, because Captain America was in the movies is closer with Howard than Tony.
It still shows like how much Iron Man still cares about his dad and his parents.
Oh yeah,
I love that too. And
it was like he wanted that shield back because it was his dad's.
I mean, he had the shield before Cap did. When he came off the ice, he had it in his house. He used it to build his new arc reactor. But like yeah, everything. This was a movie that basically, if you stuck through with it, or if you haven't, either way, it gave you everything you wanted. In my opinion, it's one of the best superhero movies ever made. Superhero movies, because it felt like an animated comic book movie, where we can just naturally have all these characters in a movie, which is a hard thing to write, and they have a story that intertwines all of them. And yeah, I don't know. I jumble on my words because I'm shocked that they even pulled this off. The fact that we're getting this and then 2 more Avengers movies and a Spider-Man and Iron Man movie next year. So
and Guardians.
Nothing bad to say about this. Like I said, they stuck to the Marvel formula, and at the same time, they kind of did some risky things with this movie. And I hope they keep doing risks. Not just with their films like Strange and Guardians, but I hope with these familiar characters, they keep doing risky things that will shock the audience and kind of stray away from their formula, like with the darkness of this movie.
Well, I mean, the Russo brothers have proven themselves as some of the best directors that we've had in these Marvel
I think they're
movies.
better than I mean, Joss Whedon did a great job with the Avengers because he established how to put these characters in there, but I think the brothers do it better.
Yeah.
I think they do it way better because Winter Soldier, I don't even count as a Marvel movie. It felt like a presidential, like a rogue movie.
Yeah.
I gave this movie an 8 out of 10. And I still stand by my 8 out of 10 if we're gonna rate it. And that doesn't mean that I, like, as a fan, I wouldn't give it a 9 out of 10. I said it's a masterpiece and it's the best superhero movie, but like if I'm giving it a movie rating, it's an 8 out of 10, a high 8 out of 10. So like I'll go 8.6, right?
Yeah.
So and that's a B. Like, I mean, for these movies to be an A movie, you got to realize like they have to be A movies, and many people would say that wasn't A movie. But
Superhero wise, I'd probably give it like a 9.
Superhero wise, I'd give it a 9.5. But in terms of movies, it's an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'm actually gonna give it a 9. I thought it didn't disappoint me in anything. Like everything was perfect. They nailed Spider-Man and Black Panther. So it's a 9 out of 10 for me. I don't know if it's my favorite movie of the year yet. Actually, though, I might like Deadpool a little better. I really love Deadpool as well. Yeah.
I honestly
it was hard.
I didn't like Deadpool the first time I saw it. I'm weird.
I loved it.
But the thing is, I'm a really critical person. It's like when I go and see a movie, when I say I don't like something, that comes from many different viewpoints. That comes from a fan, that comes from a critic, that comes from just a moviegoer. I was underwhelmed by Deadpool's story, but then I went back and appreciated it, and I was like, wow, they really did nail this. But since we're on Captain America, that is my favorite movie of the year so far because I don't know. I feel like I'll like Deadpool 2 a lot more than Deadpool 1 when he can be going crazy in a story that actually is a story rather than him just getting some girl back.
So far, the movie's my favorite of the year.
I hated Batman vs Superman. That was garbage.
We still got
it was garbage.
Apocalypse, Suicide Squad, and Rogue One.
Apocalypse is in like 2 weeks.
Rogue One is going to be my favorite movie. I can tell you right now.
Those 3 are probably going to pack a punch.
And Doctor Strange might freak us all out and be good. It has a great premise. Like the trailer to me was so 2-dimensional when we saw it. I was like, this is stupid. This looks like an Inception ripoff.
When's that coming out?
August. And it looks right?
I thought it was November.
It might be November. Sorry, there's so many movies coming out, but I think Strange will surprise me. Anyway,
that's Suicide Squad, isn't it? August.
Hopefully, I think that'll be a bad movie besides Leto.
I'm excited for it.
This was one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen, if not the best. Some of the best performances I've ever seen in a Marvel movie. Probably the best performances I've seen, and hands down the best writing. It is hands down the best writing. They put together a dozen characters in a movie, and they made all of their stories relevant. They made me care about Hawkeye. Well, not really Hawkeye, but they made me care about Scarlet Witch and Vision in a movie that had Captain America and Iron Man fighting each other, and that deserves an applause to the Russo brothers. So that was fantastic. 8 out of 10, favorite movie of the year until Rogue One comes out. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, you mentioned like how they made you care about Scarlet Witch and Vision. Like in the comic book, that's what they did with like Fantastic Four and Daredevil and Punisher.
In the Civil War movie,
in the comic book, but like they didn't have those characters, so they did that now in this. So.
The thing is, how many issues in Civil War?
7.
7, that's right. Yeah. In a 7-issue comic book series, it's a lot easier to flesh out these characters than it is in a 2.5-hour movie.
Yeah.
That has stars in it, like Iron Man, right? So the fact that they had all these before we would call B characters and made them so relevant, and I actually do care about them, not just because they're in the movie and I have to care about them, I actually do. That's awesome to me. So I mean, they did an amazing job. I don't know how they wrote that movie. That had to be so hard to actually bring to life in one 2-hour movie. Fantastic.
2.5 hours.
Yeah, but we're rounding down. So I'm excited. I think nothing but hope for the future, with the exception of Thor. I think those movies suck, unless they put Hulk in the movie.
Well, yeah.
But
Ragnarok, that'll be cool.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm really excited for Marvel, and I think DC should be really worried because they're not doing so well so far. But it's not about that for me. It's not about any superhero movie I welcome, and I think this has been the best. So thanks for having us, man. That was fantastic.
Oh yeah, it was a good time, and I mean it's a great time to be a movie fan and a comic book fan. There's so much coming out.
Back in the winter when I was at the midnight premiere for Star Wars Episode 7, which is already crazy enough, I was seeing previews for Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, and a Civil War movie. I mean that's ridiculous.
And we still got
that's ridiculous.
We still have Apocalypse to come.
And I have an X-Men Apocalypse. I have Spider-Man Homecoming coming up. I mean they're really just, this is awesome. And I mean I keep it coming. Rogue One. I've been wanting to know that since I was a little kid, how they got the Death Star. So it's a great time to be alive for a movie fan.
Yeah.
So,
well, thanks to both of you for coming out. It was another great episode. I look forward to having you guys back whenever we can do that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'll be back next week, of course, with another episode. So thanks to the fans and viewers for watching, as always. And anything you guys want to plug or say before we
like and subscribe, guys. Share this video with your friends on Facebook or on Twitter. You know, give them a shout out. We really appreciate that. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us, MacLean. It's always a great time.
Yeah, it was great to have you guys. Yeah, until next week, may the force be with you. Always.